listening to Downworlder Dish, a Shadowhunter Chronicles podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 60, where we will be jumping into Clockwork Angel and discussing the prologue and chapter 1, The Dark House. I'm Kristen.
I'm Robin.
And I'm Amanda.
All right.
Holy crap, dude. I just have to say really quickly, did you just say episode 60, like 60?
Uh-huh, episode
it's amazing.
60.
Crazy.
What? I can't believe we've been doing this for a year.
I know. We have stayed so dedicated, you guys.
Dude, for real.
I don't think I've ever stayed this dedicated to anything but my family.
Dude, I wasn't this dedicated to my first marriage.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Oh. That's great.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's been crazy. And there was a pretty significant response to our little chit chat for pre-Chain of Iron. I was really surprised.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to talk about what's out now. I'm super jealous that I couldn't even listen.
I think by the time the next new book comes out, you'll be caught up.
Probably. I started listening to Heavenly Fire again tonight. I'm rolling back in. I just gotta stick with it.
Just push through that last bit.
Get done with the clay. So
Yeah, that's why I'm super excited to start with the Clockwork. I'm excited. This is great.
Oh, yes. Oh, hello, Wednesday. My minion has climbed on the back of my chair, and she's gonna sit here and stare at you while
I love
we
it.
record. Speaking of Chain of Iron, holy Toledo Batman. It came out last week. Holy crap. We are recording this on Thursday, so it came out 2 days ago. But I just, I started it on Tuesday, but I'm, taking my time. And I'm only on, 150 pages in. But I am oh, there is so much. And I have so many theories. But I don't have anyone to talk to about them because Robin hasn't started. Amanda, you're not there yet. I'm on an island and it hurts my soul.
I need to dedicate my life to the book. So I haven't been able to
Where's Jason at?
He hasn't started yet.
Okay.
We're probably going to start on our way up to the cabin on the audiobook because I have that too. So I can...
Awesome.
On Chain of Iron?
Chain of Iron, so I can get him kicked off on that. Because, he's already all caught up, so he's ready for it.
Wow. Love it.
It's weird to think I didn't read Chain of Gold at all. It was completely the audio book. And so...
Neither did I.
It's weird to think oh, okay. Kristen sent me some TikToks that were super hilarious. And they have the characters' names. And I was like, who is that? But it was Ariana.
Uh-huh.
But I had never read her name before. And I was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, duh. And then, never mind. Nope. Zip.
I know. Non-spoilery.
Move on.
But
I'll call that shit out.
But if I can find some that only have TMI for right now, I will send them to you, Amanda, because they're so fucking funny. They just fit the character so well. The Jace stuff, I'm just fucking hell, really?
Yes.
It's perfect.
I wish I could search for stuff, but I can't.
Yeah.
I'm worried I'm going to spoil it, so I'm just not. I don't do anything.
Maybe.
I was telling Amanda.
Oh, I was just going to say, maybe when you get there, we'll do a Vines reaction video and watch them together or something. I think that would be fun.
I was telling Amanda we should do after, we should do 2 end of book episodes.
Okay.
And do one that's wrapping up the book and then one that's the book with spoilers and do a bonus.
Ooh, that would be fun.
So it's how it connects everything through. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you guys have any ideas for, bonus episodes or things special things that you want us to talk about that maybe we haven't covered or or whatever, hit us up in our DMs on Instagram. That's the best way to contact us. Let us know. We're going to try and be better about posting on Instagram, like places where you guys can comment and give us some feedback and things like that. So, yeah, and Instagram is the most efficient way to get a hold of us for sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only thing we check. Do we have a Twitter? I don't even know. Okay, good.
I don't understand the point of Twitter.
It's very confusing to me. I'm too old for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be young with my middle part, right? But
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I've gotten.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really excited about
I
China
tried
Mar-
the middle part.
Oh, sorry. You tried the middle part?
I tried. Not for me. I'm too fat for that shit. And probably too old. Because even in the 90s, when the middle part was a thing, I had the bangs, the big bangs.
Oh, yeah. The barrel roll bangs.
Yeah, my hair could not support them, but I still did it. Yes.
So, cool news. Amanda has some good information for us. And good
we never thought of something to say
we
for
didn't.
that.
We didn't.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks. No one's coming up with anything creative for me. Just kidding. I don't give a shit. Okay. Listen, here's the thing. This is an amazing review, and thank you very much, but I cannot pronounce this because the name is Okay?
That was
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
Thank you. Anyway, thank you very much, Georgia. Their post or their reviews titled Love It, which I love. And this is the first time I'm reading this, so I'm going to be reacting with everyone. It says, I don't usually listen to podcasts, but I love this one. It makes me think much more about the character development and plot. And every time I listen, I have to pause to go on a 20-minute rant about how much I love Alec and dislike how Jace treats him or whatever else I want to rant about. I recommend this podcast to literally everyone who has a soul.
That's a broad audience.
I love it. And I think this is the best podcast in the entire history of the universe.
Obviously.
Kristen shares pretty much all of my opinions too, so that's nice. Thumbs up.
We got a fellow salty bitch.
Oh, that was a great review. Thank you, Gusham.
That's amazing. I love it.
Amazing.
I love it.
Oh, everyone that has a soul should listen. That's the best.
Right? I mean,
Well, and we found out at the end of City of Glass that, vampires and werewolves are sold.
right.
Yeah.
Raziel said so they should also listen.
Yep.
So what's up?
Yeah. We are there's a word and I can't think of it.
Awesome.
We're way more marketable than I thought we were.
Right.
Well, my hands aren't sweaty anymore, so I think we're good.
I mean, you wouldn't
every time we record.
You wouldn't know it by our SEO, but
Cool.
it's all good. All right. So we don't have a Robin's recap to kick things off because we are starting in a brand new time, people.
I have chills literally right now.
Amazing.
What year is it?
We'll get to that.
1878. Yep.
Set the scene.
I literally say I have to set the scene.
Shut up.
So I just want to preface this for just a second. So my section is just the prologue because we did the prologue in the first chapter. So my section is like specifically just the prologue. And I decided to take a little bit of a different approach this week. While I was prepping for the episode, I noticed that I was reading through the prologue and I was seeing a lot of like technical stuff jump out at me. And so I thought it might be cool to kind of shift our perspective a little bit and look at like analyzing the prologue through a technical lens. So I guess like let me know if you hate it.
Hate it.
Without further ado. So because of my love for this series and the fact that I am 100% that dramatic bitch, let me set the scene for you. London, 1878. It's a dreary April night, the moon bright, casting sharp shadows through the fog-smeared streets and alleyways of the Port District, the city's bedrock of debauchery. We meet William Herondale just as he dispatches a demon. Who is this mysterious demon slayer hunting in the shadows? Well, I'm sorry, I can't keep it together. So, from the first page, I'd venture to guess he's one of our primary characters, since the second sentence starts with his full name, and given the context of our introduction, I'd say he's Nephilim. Or these are just
shrugging face.
These are my context clues, okay? So we still don't have any idea what his character looks like, but given the information previously described, coupled with the fact that Mr. Herondale immediately and enthusiastically turned around to ensure somebody witnessed his glory, I think it's safe to say we've got one of Jace's ancestors on our hands, and I am here for it.
I just want you to know these clapping emojis that you put in the doc, I thought they were tacos.
Okay, I'm sorry that I have to interrupt you, but I can, and I will, and I'm going to.
Do it.
I remember when Amanda got to this part in the book, and she was like, why do they keep saying, like, his entire name? William Herondale, William Herondale, William Herondale. She's like, I don't like it.
Make it stop. It's like when my husband and I first started dating and he kept texting and saying my name. And I'm like, can you please stop? It's creepy.
Ew.
I don't like it.
I think there's something seriously wrong if my husband says my name. I'm like, what did I do? Those Amazon packages were not mine. They had your name on them.
That's right.
Okay, so Will takes off in search of his recently disappeared companion, and we spend a few paragraphs adjusting into his character and personality and kind of like the style of his mind, because it's written in third person, so we can kind of get to be inside. So when Will comes across a policeman on his search for Jem, that trademark Herondale charm is on display as Will, invisible due to his glamour, debates whether or not to mess with the copper, a la Harry Potter using his invisibility cloak to screw with Malfoy.
Nerd.
But like, I took note of the playful way that, like, even Will within his own mind is, like, joking with himself. He's like, I could take his hat and, like, you know, screw with him. And, what, you know, he, like, looks around. Where is it? It's floating, you know. It's just.
I would totally do that.
It just kind of gives you a little bit of a snapshot. And, like, we know that he's playful now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that playful mischief acts as a thread connecting us back to Jace, almost creating a sense of nostalgia. So it kind of like, by showing us this part of him, it reminds us of Jace, and then kind of like makes us feel more comfortable in this new story, because everything's brand new. We don't know anything about these people. Yeah. So, okay, so I think it's really interesting. It's a really interesting writing trick that goes a long way to settling the reader into a new set of characters by making our first introduction feel familiar. That's what I was trying to say.
Definitely.
But I got ahead of myself. So I don't know about you guys, but whenever I read like spin-offs or prequels or even just like a new book by an author that I love, my biggest worry is that I won't fall in love with the characters the same way. Or even worse, the characters will end up being like lackluster copies of the originals.
Okay. Yeah. I have to say, I'm remembering back. I didn't go back and reread this section, but everything's coming back to me as you're saying it. And I just am so excited. But I didn't love this. It kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited about going back in time and but it felt kind of dirty and I kind of missed my characters again. And so, yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
What about you, Robin?
I just think that I don't know how much I've really read where it's anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten so comfortable with Cassie being able to switch world and timelines and characters. And like, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. My favorite book is a book I'm currently reading.
Right.
I've come to that conclusion. And I don't remember the first time feeling anything except just being excited to like get another Shadowhunter book. And now it seems, I can't think of any other series I've read that does that and does it so well. Mm-hmm. Because I totally like parallel with Will and Jace. And it did feel like comfortable. But not in a way that it
overpowering.
I want to say cheaply done, but that seems like it's a weird thing to say. It wasn't a B movie,
right.
Okay?
Right. And I think that's like, I get the same thing with like just authors that I like who just write standalones or whatever. If I fall in love and I've loved like the last 5 of their books, that every time a book comes out, I'm like, is this going to be the one that I don't like that's going to disappoint me? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Like all the Harry Potters. No?
Go wash your mouth out with soap right now.
That didn't
happen. Young lady.
Yeah, but I think you're absolutely right, though, that tie between Jace and Will. I remember thinking, like, a lot of the time, yep, that's totally Jace. Uh-huh. Oh, my God, this motherfucker is totally Jace. Yeah.
And I think
that's totally something he would do.
Exactly. And I think Cassie is really the only author that I can think of right now that, like, never been disappointed in character, like in the way that like I've fallen in love with the characters in every series. Like even if it's not all of them, I've still like had a deep connection.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some characters that kind of fall flat for me, but for the most part, like the main.
I know I'm not going to be disappointed by her books. I think that's my biggest thing is I know that I have confidence that I'm going to just enjoy the hell out of this. It's probably going to destroy me emotionally, but I will be happy about it because this is the way I relax.
It's like me with murder shows.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do my murder podcasts on Monday. Okay, so
awesome.
As we were kind of to segue off of what we were talking about, there's like this fine line between drawing the reader in and making them comfortable by using like what they love about the previous series or previous book or what have you, whether it be like the style or the pacing or whatever it is. But then also give your characters and your story enough differences and enough enough space to like breathe and be their own thing. And it's just something that Cassie did really well between TMI and TID. And I think the difference in era really helps make this distinction because the societal norms of, late 1800s England really do dictate like interactions between characters and their personalities to a degree because they can only like there's limits on how they can express themselves. So I think it makes you kind of pick apart their personalities in a different way because they're doing different things and behaving in different ways than they would in modern day New York.
Absolutely.
And
yeah, Tessa and Clary are not going to act the same.
No, and it makes every little bit of like romance that much more exciting because there's so much tension. It's like they're alone in a carriage.
You saw my ankle?
Yeah, exactly. Everything is such a big deal.
I feel like we deserve new characters in another trilogy every 10 years of time.
Yes.
Okay, every
We deserve
decade.
one in the 20s. We deserve one in the 30s. We deserve one in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. And we earned this.
That sounds like so much work.
She's literally a millionaire because of us. Like, I feel like.
I mean, it's true.
I mean, at the same time, as a writer, like, that's the most cringy, like, horrible thing you could hear is, like, that you owe, that it's not your own creation. But, like, I'm a reader and I like it.
Yeah. I would probably say every 20 years or so, maybe every 25, so you can get that generation.
I want an 80s Shadowhunter book. I
was thinking 90s, early 2000s, like Clary's going to NSYNC concert.
I just really want punk rock Valentine. Like, I need it in my life. I need him to be a gutter punk for sure.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so back to our prologue, because we're still on the fucking prologue. And I'm only like half done with my spot. So while Will shares a certain joie de vivre with our beloved Jace, he is absolutely more of an extrovert and has this like performative quality to his personality that I freaking love. It is so not me, but I love it. And of course, this is beautifully demonstrated when Will is searching for Jem and shouts into the night air, I apologize in advance.
I can't wait for this.
Are you doing it?
Don't psych me up or I'm not going to be able to do it.
Don't watch.
James Costes, Jem, where are you, you disloyal bastard?
That was beautiful.
It was terrible.
Okay.
I can't do Welsh, so I just did like generic.
Yeah. Tell me, how the hell?
Okay, now do it in Essex accent.
James Costes, Jem, where are you, you disloyal bastard? I don't know. I just tried to imitate Chris Pratt imitating someone from Always Essex. Yeah. From Graham Norton.
Oh, shit. Okay, so tell me, how is Jem a nickname for James?
I don't know. How is Jim a nickname for James?
I agree.
But how is Bob a nickname for Robert? The list goes on and on.
Yeah. And
could you
Bill
imagine
for William?
if they were like Bob Lightwood?
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Lightwood.
Oh, you know Bob Lightwood? Yeah, he's a real stand-up guy. Bob.
Yeah.
No, his name would be Bob if the institute was in Portland or Seattle instead of New York, and he'd wear a flannel.
Yeah.
He'd be basically Luke.
Yeah.
And I would call him Bob.
Well, and then we have Rod Morgenstern.
Oh, God.
So anyway, sorry. I like the name Jem. I think it's cute, but James doesn't. Jeremiah maybe? Like Jem? James? No.
Timothy. Yeah. It was so funny, like the first, I think it was like into the second or third chapter of this book. Jason and I were listening in the car together. We were on a road trip. And he's like, it sounds like he keeps saying Jem. And I'm like, no. He is.
What did he think he was called? His name?
Jim. He thought it was Jim, but like it was, they sounded weird. And I'm like,
yeah, that
no.
makes sense.
I can't be in love with someone named Jim. I'm sorry. Doesn't work for me. So we can already tell that Will is going to be arrogant, charming, and infuriatingly lovable. So basically the recipe for love potion number 9, right? He's definitely going to be a heartbreaker. I can feel the pink bubble hearts popping up around my head as I'm reading.
Your eyes are hearts, your little emoji.
Yeah, and they're like, goo-goom, goo-goom, goo-goom.
Yeah.
So the as of yet still unseen Gem heard Will's cry and calls him over to a nearby alley where Will finds him covered in blood blood. Don't worry, it's not his. So apparently, like, all Shadowhunters find themselves in these kinds of situations. It's not just like a New York Institute thing. Just like, you're covered in blood. It's not mine.
But then it never happens again, right? Like, you never in the entire series of books do they go like trolling for demons, just like at the very beginning of City of Bones. Like, they were out like chasing this demon in the club, and then they literally never did it again in the entire series because they were so busy with everything else going on.
They were busy trying to save the world, Amanda.
Yeah.
Get your priorities straight.
Sorry.
So, well, it's a good thing that the pale silver fox isn't hurt. The blood is from an extremely dead girl. Now,
extremely dead.
Quick sidebar before we get into this. It isn't the time, but I need to cut in real quick. I need to cut in real quick and put in a disclaimer. We will get to all things hot and smexy and named James Carstairs in due time, my friend. And I have a lot to say on the matter, but we're not there yet. So, moving on. The interaction between Jem and Will is done really well here, and instantly we can tell that Jem is the counterweight to Will's exuberance, right? He's very like, woo, and Jem's like, chill the fuck out, bro. So Jem,
he's definitely the Alec.
Yeah, he's measured and he's thoughtful, and he really grounds Will's more out of the box thinking. So we can definitely, like, immediately we know what the dynamic is. And I also definitely get the gothic mystery theme coming through really, really strong in this scene. It gives the reader a sense of what the book and the series is going to, like, how it's going to feel, the style. And it's giving me very strong Sherlock vibes.
Yeah, that's why I said it kind of feels gross, which was a stupid word. But yeah, it just makes me feel like it's like moist around there. And
it is. Definitely.
Kind of warm. I don't like it.
I feel like you need to be a little bit more descriptive.
Okay.
You need to say Benedict Cumberbatch, Sherlock.
Well, it doesn't, though.
So we can all get like a really good...
It doesn't, though, because that's modern.
I know, but I just want to say Benedict Cumberbatch.
Well, he's the only real Sherlock in video format.
This is true.
That's an accepted known fact. Yes.
Cumberbitch.
I'll answer to that till the day I die.
Bitch.
But yeah, like, it's interesting. So, like, the theme for the Mortal Instruments that I would, like, or I guess I shouldn't say theme. Theme isn't the right word. The feel or the style or kind of the aesthetic of TMI for me was really like the city. The city played a major role in the whole story, right? Like, it was all about New York. It was like the thing. And I think that London has a similar kind of influence, but I think the attachment of like 1800s London with the media that we've consumed as a society, as like Americans, it's like Sherlock, Jack the Ripper, like that's what we think about when we think about that time. So I think that is going to be our through line, and we've already established that this is going to be like a mystery. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm rambling. This is what I do. I nerd out over stupid shit like this. So sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if we could know that from the prologue.
Oh, like the mystery?
You know what I mean? Just it being like the story throwing through and everything like that. I like it regardless.
I mean,
but I don't know if we could have known that just from reading the prologue.
Right.
There is a murder.
We're setting the stage, but yeah, we don't know how far these things are gonna. Well, we do, but you know, whatever.
Yeah.
You should leave it in because I like it.
I'm not gonna cut any of this.
But it was just
we're just gonna have this whole conversation.
I wouldn't.
I like it. So, Will and Jem play off each other to come up with a working theory. The Shax demon that Will was chasing and killed in the first sentence of this book.
He's so badass.
Right? Was probably sent out to track down the girl, but wasn't what killed her. She was stabbed to death with a serious looking knife. And according to Jem...
That's not a knife.
Right?
This is a knife.
According to Jem, the etching of the two serpents eating each other's tails was called an Ouroboros, an alchemical symbol, Will points out, which they both determine means stupid mundanes who want to fuck with shit they don't understand. And apparently it doesn't matter if you're in 19th century London or 21st century New York, Mondays still be Mondays.
What? Mondays.
For realsies. Just trying to fuck with shit, man.
I love that you said Monday.
It was just for you. I thought of you specifically.
I love it.
It was derogatory, so Monday was acceptable.
Got it.
With an intriguing mystery and a working theory in hand, the boys start to plan the next steps in their investigation. And maybe they'll get permission while they're at it. Maybe. I spelt there wrong.
Fix it.
I did. I fixed it. After I heard the line.
I gotta fix it.
Yeah. We flip over to Tessa Gray's point of view. Another main character because we get first and last name.
Right. Good point. And she has a point of view.
Right. As the steamship she's taken from New York arrives in Southampton a month after Will and Jem's discovery, we're shown a special piece of jewelry. It's a Clockwork Angel that she wears around her neck always. And now I'm no expert, but methinks this Clockwork Angel locket our dear Tessa is wearing might be significant. And that's not just because it's the title of the book.
Right. So I have to say, while I was reading this series, I pictured it as being like an inch, like a good inch long. And that's just, it feels like it'd be heavy.
Yeah.
But you think it's more of a locket.
Well, she said it looks kind of like a locket, so that's the word I used. But I think it's like a little, like the length of your thumb, like a pendant.
Yeah, that
but
just
like
seems
thin.
big.
Did you ever watch Mad Men?
Yes.
Okay, the redhead. I can't remember.
She always had necklaces going down to her cleavage.
Yeah, so she always had that necklace with the secretary pencil on it. Like that's what I envision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It just seems, I don't know. I almost always have a necklace on and it's always just very light. Mm-hmm. Otherwise I would fuck with it too much, I guess. Maybe she's too fancy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also considering the fact that her dress is probably like 20 pounds. She's probably like, man, it's not that big. It's not that much of a weight.
Dude, bitches were so lucky back then. They got to hide their ass.
Or just use extra pillows to make their waist look skinnier because you just make your butt look bigger. That's all.
Yeah.
I like it.
Love it.
Okay, so not much really happens at first. We're just kind of getting introduced to Tessa and spending some time in her inner monologue as she waits for the ship to dock so she can get off and start her new life in England. How exciting.
Yeah.
So we learn that Tessa's brother lives in London and he sent for her to come live with him after their Aunt Harriet died. And the Clockwork Angel that Tessa loves so much belonged to her mother before she died. And it doesn't explicitly say anything about their dad, but I'm guessing he's dead too since Tessa was living with her aunt, like putting two and two together. So
yeah.
So Tessa's brother Nate had written her letters telling her all about London, and from his descriptions, Tessa was not at all prepared for the dreary weather. And I'm like, that's like the thing about England.
Yeah, it's like Oregon.
Right. It's like, how did you not know? How many books have you read?
She doesn't have Google, okay?
Right?
Give her a break.
So I found this line really interesting. It's quote, she had sold most of her clothes to pay for her aunt's funeral, secure in the knowledge that her brother would buy her more when she arrived in London to live with him. Okay. So obviously, we have to account for the time. This is the late 1800s society. So talking about money is probably like considered super duper tacky. But I would want a little more certainty before I hopped on a boat for a 6-week journey across the high seas alone.
How terrifying would that be?
I'm sorry, you want me to sell everything I have, give away all my money to pay for this funeral, and then just hop on a boat and hope you meet me?
I don't know. I guess what else would she do as an unwed, like, young,
like, she has to, right? But like,
with no.
It's just so weird thinking of like as someone in modern times, like that sounds insane. Like I need way more information.
Yeah.
But that's just like how things were done back then.
Yeah, I totally would do. I mean, I am not one to typically stand up for myself, so I'd be like, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Brother knows best.
Yeah. As long as you're going to meet me there, we'll be all good.
Right.
Like, let's do this. Well, and I mean, obviously she did it for her aunt, so she probably would have done it either way.
Right.
Honestly. She just is that honest of a honest. She seems like a good person.
Yeah. I would have so much anxiety about it. I'd be like, I don't know if I can handle this. You might have to come get me.
Underwear.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
Also, I think she's probably... Okay, I don't know because I wasn't alive then. But I'm assuming most young women that age are used to doing what they're told.
Yeah.
Good point.
Makes sense.
As well, you know?
Yeah. So Tessa disembarks and she's looking around the docks and there's no Nate. Surprise, surprise. I knew this couldn't be a happy situation. At this point...
The heebie-jeebies.
Right? At this point, I would be in full panic mode. Like, someone get me a cell phone because I'm about to tear my brother a new one. Like, I'm not having it.
Well, even worse back then because, like, what do? You can't, right. There's no phone. Like, literally, you're just stuck there. That's just insane.
Yeah. Yep. So all of a sudden, some super creepy riffraff looking dude appears in front of Tessa and is all, "Your brother sent me. Come with me." And then just beats feet through the crowd without even looking back to make sure she's following.
Pass.
Right? I'm like, I don't know.
No.
And with no cell phone, no jacket, no umbrella, and it's raining because it's London. Well, I guess it's Southampton, but it's England, so it's raining, right?
Yep.
Tessa's like, YOLO, and follows the Devil's Rejects Extra to a big black carriage hidden behind a pile of boxes. Okay. Sure. This seems fine.
The fuck?
It's like that meme of the dog and the like house is on fire, and he's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Nate must have some pretty terrible friends
right?
if she just followed him.
Right?
Like, this seems like a sort of dude Nate hangs out with. Yeah. Okay.
And I'm getting some gullible Clary vibes from Tessa, and I'm not sure I'm liking it. I'm like, Tessa better wise up. This better be like a, oh, I was innocent, and I'm going to like get my shit together now thing. So as if shit wasn't shady enough, two equally creepy ladies calling themselves Mrs. Black and Mrs. Dark emerge from the carriage, and they're all, we're your brother's friends. We've got candy. Get in the van. Tessa's dubious for about a half a second, but then they give her a letter from her brother, and she's like, sounds legit, and then she calls shotgun. So, pulls a Clary.
Off we go.
Yeah. And that's the end of the
crazy.
prologue.
Yeah. So we fast forward to, it sounds like I think it's been about a week or so. And
I think it's 6 weeks.
Oh, is it? Oh, my bad. You're probably
I'm gonna
right,
double
actually.
check.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're probably right. Okay. So anyway, there's a maid named Miranda, and she comes to Tessa's room, and tells her that the sisters want to see her. And apparently, this is similar to Groundhog's Day because this happens every day. Like, this bitch comes to her room. She's like, they want to see you. And if Tessa doesn't go with Miranda to go to the sisters, she will just come back, and then eventually we'll just drag her, like, kicking and screaming. And so Tessa's being held captive, we've realized, and she finally realizes that kicking and screaming is just going to do no good. So she eventually just gives in and starts to follow and go. So after about a week, she eventually just gave in and just follows Miranda, which is literally what I just said. So there you go.
Cool.
So the room Tessa is in actually sounds kind of cute from the way she describes it. She has a brass bed and a small table with like lace draped over it. Kind of sounds cottagey and cozy. And she'd write letters to her brother every night. While sitting at like this small little chair. And she knew that he would probably never get the letters, but she would write them anyway, and she would hide them underneath her mattress so the Dark Sisters couldn't find them. It's just so sad. It's basically like she's keeping a journal in the form of writing the letters to her brother. And of course, I'm assuming like she's just sitting there worried about him instead of herself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where is he? Obviously something's happened to him because he wasn't there. And she's being held captive, so these people are terrible, which she obviously didn't catch on to when she met them.
Right. Probably shouldn't have gotten in the carriage.
That place was packed. You could have yelled.
You didn't have the secret passcode.
Right.
Duh.
Like when your mom's friend's supposed to pick you up from school.
Banana.
Yeah. Although I guess they had the letter from Nate. So.
Yeah.
So Tessa checks herself in the mirror before she goes because the Dark Sisters don't like it when she looks messy. What do they care what she looks like?
Right?
It's so strange. They sound gross. So
do you have to be that picky?
She notes to her. Yeah, right? She's a prisoner. Like, leave her alone.
Right.
So she notes to herself about how pale and hollow-eyed she looks. Her trunk of clothes obviously didn't make it, as the sisters had promised, because back in the prologue, they were like, yeah, we'll get that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No, she never got it. So she's wearing like a black dress that kind of sounds like Wednesday Addams-esque.
I like
It's
it.
called, like a black school dress. Obviously, it's not that short like Wednesday Addams. But anyway. So she fondly thinks of her brother Nate and misses him. And she feels really alone without him, since he's like the only person in the world that she's connected to anymore now that her aunts died. Which is, Robin and I were just talking about this the other day. This is why we preach to our kids, like, your sibling is going to be your best friend. Mm-hmm. You better be nice to them. It doesn't work when you're kids, but anyway, we always realize it as adults. So anyway, Miranda returns to come collect Tessa, and she tells her, it is time. And it reminds me of when Ethel says that when they're practicing on I Love Lucy, when Lucy's going into labor. It is time, because they're all calm, and then they fucking freak when it's really time and they forget Lucy. They all leave and she's just there for herself.
Classic.
Anyway, she says that she says that Mrs. Black and Mrs. Dark are waiting, so like, let's go, girl. And I just want to know, like, what the I want to know what the fuck kind of names those are. Like, what kind of dudes did these bitches marry? They got last names that are so similar because they're Mrs., so they must be married.
Hey, Amanda. Hey, Amanda. I think they might be fake.
Oh, dang, really? You think? Oh, okay,
Maybe.
okay. So Tessa tries to decide how old Miranda is, and I totally do this too. I really do. When I meet someone new, I'm like, I don't know. And sometimes they're talking to me and I'm not totally listening because I'm trying to figure out like how old they are or what they're into. So she can't really tell because she describes her face to have somewhat of like an ageless type quality, which jealous. Mm-hmm. I could use some of that. So, like, she could be 5, she could be 30, who knows?
You know what I think of?
Just kidding. She says, like, 19 or 25. She doesn't know. Oh, shit. Okay, so Miranda led Tessa to the Dark Sisters' office that was down in a musk, like, it literally is described as dank, which I just freaking love. And it's this smelly cellar. It sounds like it's kind of far away, but this is, like, between her room and the this office. That's the only place she's ever been allowed to go in this house. So she knows the way. It sounds like she's pretty familiar. But how crazy to just be led down a hallway to one room to another. It's got to be so disorienting.
Clearly, Valentine's decorator did not get there.
Yeah. Yeah. These are his parents, you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Plot twist.
So this room is so gross that the furniture is growing mold,
Ew.
which I have to add in here, okay? My professional opinion. Do not leave your box spring in the plastic because your mattress is going to absorb your heat and your sweat, and it's going to pool up on the bottom of that on the top of that plastic, and your mattress is going to get mold, okay? Don't do it. That's what this makes me think of. Gross.
The more you know.
So despite their names, the sisters are dressed in bright colors. One is in pink and one is in like peacock blue. And this room is, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So this room is hot and gross, and they're still wearing gloves, which I don't remember if it says what color they are, but I imagine they're white. I don't know why.
I'm sorry.
Maybe they match their outfits.
Seriously, the way they're dressed is so much more unnerving.
Yes.
Right? Because it speaks to their mental state, right? They're wearing these like really flamboyant, colorful gowns that are like really nice, but they're doing these horrible, deplorable things.
Yeah.
It reeks of there's a couple screws loose.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if I like that.
So the nicer of the two sisters hands, hey, who's fucking with me?
Robin.
Who did that? Robin.
It wasn't me.
Somebody.
It said your name.
Highlighted.
It said Robin.
I didn't.
Called you out. Google caught you.
I didn't do anything.
Red-handed.
Anyway, the nicer of the two sisters hands Tessa a hair ribbon, and apparently they often ask her to they just hand her like random things that belong to other people. And so she's told to take this ribbon and change. So she remembers back to the first time they gave her an object and told her to change. And they continued to hit her and shake her and shit while she told them she had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. They're like hitting her and shaking her. She's like, what do you want from me? And eventually they told her that if she didn't do what they were asking her to do, that they would kill her brother Nate because they had him, which is what I assumed when I read that she was held captive. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So they proved that they had him because they had a family ring that had belonged to Nate and it had blood on it. Ugh. Sad. So one day, Tessa finally was able to change, and it was so painful that she vomited and then passed out. Kind of sounds like labor a little bit to me, but okay. I kept falling asleep from the pain. They're like, are you literally sleeping? Yeah. I'm tired, bro. Been up for 3 days. Anyway, when she finally came to, she was on the floor and Mrs. Black was patting like a damp towel on her forehead like your mommy did when you had a fever. Mm-hmm. And she's telling Tessa like she did really well. And I feel like I remember from the audiobook it was more creepy than I feel like I would have given the voices. So I'm really glad that I did the audiobook, but their voices are just like, you did so well. It's just so creepy.
No, thank you.
So anyway, imagine them as super creep.
Okay, but also like, why not just tell her what, like, give her the information, like tell her what you want her to do and why, explain it to her.
Because she literally they're basically like, let this take you. And she's like, what does that mean?
Right. Explain it.
And all of us we're all just like, what does changing mean? Tell us.
And it's a capital C.
Yeah, also. It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So apparently she had done well enough that the sisters gave her 2 new books to read when she got back to her room. Hey. And after that, it started to become easier for Tessa to go through this change. So this time we come back to current time. She grips the hair ribbon tighter and like opens her mind. She allows her spirit, she allows the spirit that's connected to the ribbon to come to her. So it's like she's merging with this other spirit. And all of the noise and grossness in this room around her start to fade. And she felt this intense tingling from her head to her toes. And the Clockwork Angel on her necklace starts to kind of sync with her heart rate. And this kind of reminds me of Izzy's pendant, sort of in a way, the connection there. Anyway, so pressure built inside Tessa's skin, and then it was over. And she just was back to herself,
surprised.
I guess.
Sorry. Okay. Let me cut you off.
Thank you.
I'm surprised they didn't take her necklace from her.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It's like, why let her have something like that?
I was watching NCIS recently, and someone had dropped their necklace so that the people could find the person. They're like, usually captors don't let them keep jewelry.
We watched that episode last night.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tessa's blinking to reorient herself, and she looks down at her new body.
Is it banging?
Which sounds cool, but it's not.
Oh.
No. She's transformed into this frail, thin, like pale skin, chapped lips person. And Mrs. Black is like, "Who are you? Who? And the person who Tessa has changed with a capital C into talks for her, which has got to be like next level goosebumps. That's a no for me, dog.
Seriously.
Yep. Anyway, she states, whatever. Her name is Emma Bayless. And Miss Black asked her to like elaborate. And as she starts to tell her story, Tessa's able to see all of the thoughts as if they were in her mind, as Emma is thinking about them to get them out. Whew. Yep. So, Emma was one of 6 children born in Cheapside. And I had to like
I'm guessing that's not the rich side.
Yeah.
I was like, did I write that down wrong? No, I didn't. That's what is in the book. Her father had died, and her mother sold peppermint water in the East End. And Emma had learned to sew to bring in some extra money for, since she was a small child. So her nights were get it? Her nights were spent sitting at the table, like in their kitchen, sewing by this dim candlelight. And sometimes when the candle burned out and there was no money for more, she would go into the streets and like sew by the light of the gas lamps.
I don't even have words for that.
That's sad.
That's so sad.
So Mrs. Dark interrupts to ask her if that's what she was doing the night she died. And that is rude. You can't just going around asking people how they died, okay?
It's like asking how much they weigh.
Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, so Tessa's able to see this narrow, shadowed streets, silver needlework. And she's able to hear muffled steps from the darkness, and then hands grab her shoulders, dragging her screaming into the darkness. The needlework falls to the ground, and the ribbons are ripped from her hair. And there's this harsh...
No thanks.
Yeah, dude, for real. So there's this harsh voice shouting, and then a knife ripping through the darkness and piercing her skin. And she describes the pain as, like, fire. Which is... ugh. And then this terror, worse than anything she'd ever known, like, washes over her. And she's kicking at the man holding her. She's able to knock the knife from his grasp and grab it and run. Which, good for Emma. She sounds like a badass.
Yeah, hell yes.
Right?
So she's stumbling, and, like, blood is, like, pooling from this, like, large rip in her wound, like, in her side, her body. I said side. I don't know if that's where it is. It's where I imagined it was.
Her body. Her soul.
Yeah. So she's, like, blood is, like, splattering down as she's running, like, down the alley. And she can't make it any further, like, too much blood loss. So she just crumples into a ball. And as she's laying there, she hears this hissing scream. And she's basically, like, she knows it's coming for her. So she just hopes she dies before it gets to her.
Crazy.
Which is, like, that's got to be horrifying, obviously. Not only for this girl, Emma, but also Tessa is having to relive and actually, like, physically feel those moments. And how many times has she had to go through this?
Yeah, right. How many times have they already done this to her with different people? Absolutely. Because I'm assuming, she's doing it for dead people, not living people. Right? I wonder if it would work for a living person.
No, that was gonna be my question, is are all these people dead that she's making her change into and then relive their death?
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's awful. Anyway, finally, Tessa's ripped from the change and is herself again. Standing, like, in that nasty ass room, holding, like, the bow that we know now is from Emma Bayless. And Mrs. Black asks, like, where Emma is. And Tessa replies that she's dead. She had bled to death in an alley. So, okay. I'm assuming...
So they assumed she was alive.
And they just wanted to know. because she's like, good.
Okay.
I'm glad, like, she was troubling us or whatever. Like, you're glad this child is dead? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy ass voices,
like
too.
it.
I think we have some new enemies here. Enemies.
Yep.
And then she, like, praises Tessa for a job well done, to which she doesn't reply. She just looks down and she sees blood splattered on her dress. And she's not in pain anymore, and it's not her blood.
Crazy.
And this wasn't the first time that something like this had happened. She tries to keep it together, but she feels like she's going to faint, which obviously I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just makes me wonder, like, if there's blood on her, is, like, what goes to say that in that moment, the next time they make you change, you're not worried that something's going to hurt you, or, that you're going to die the same way?
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah.
The fuck out of there.
Too sweet.
Faux show.
So, Mrs. Dark is like, good job, Tessa, but I wasn't sure that, like, you were going to be, like, she's talking to her sister, not to Tessa, but she's like, I wasn't sure that she was going to be able to do it, considering, like, what happened with the Addams woman. And so
I don't want to know.
This clicks Tessa back to remember a few weeks ago when they'd asked her to change into a woman who died from a gunshot wound to the heart. She changed and blood had, like, poured down the front of her dress. And she changed back immediately, screaming hysterically until she was, like, able to, like, realign and realize that she was herself and not this other person. Yeah, just instantly blood pooling. Dude.
Yeah, of course she did.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And to just, like, try to get, how traumatic that must be, the nightmares she must have reliving these people's deaths. And obviously because she keeps having blood on her.
No bueno. And do they give her new clothes? Or does she have to, like, go in these blood-stained clothes?
Yeah.
Maybe Miranda cleans them for her.
I guess. Ew.
She has to get down to her undies every day.
Ow.
So the Dark sisters have a discussion about how pleased they are with their young captor's progress, calling her unformed clay, and exclaiming how they're basically like miracle workers, and the Magister is going to be so pleased, agreeing that it's time for Teresa to meet their master. And Tessa's, like, obviously confused like the rest of us, and she's like, who the hell is this Magister dude? And of course she isn't able to ask any questions, and Miranda is summoned to take her back to her room. But not before she hears Mrs. Black say that tomorrow might be the day, or maybe even tonight. He's going to be so super excited that, like, I bet he just won't be able to wait. He's going to be so excited. And
I don't like where this is going.
No. So,
yeah.
Dude.
They're basically selling her.
Ugh.
Mrs. Dark, like, brings her back down to reality and is like, listen, Linda, we have to make sure that, like, she's just ready. So, sorry. Mrs. Dark brings her sister back to reality, not Tessa. And she's like, listen, Linda, we have to make sure that she isn't just ready. Like, she has to be presentable. And before we can hear, like, the rest of their conversation, Miranda shows up, and she isn't even slightly affected by the scene in front of her. She does not. She gives two shits. And she's told to take Tessa. She's told to take Tessa upstairs to get the
that is her name,
and get her dressed and ready. And Miranda's like, could you be more constructive with your feedback? Like, what are these things? And the Dark sisters, like, rush up to her and they start whispering. And Tessa's able to pick out a few words: dresses, wardrobe room, quote, make her look pretty. And Tessa's like, damn, dude, why does this Magister dude care what I look like? Why all the hubbub? And she could just transform and look however they wanted her to. Like, she can transform into anybody and look like anybody they want her to look like. Like, why do they care? Like,
yeah. You know, and something that for some reason you're saying this now, I realize I didn't put in my section is Tessa. I think maybe I skipped a part because I feel like she was looking at herself in the mirror or whatever. Anyway, so she is tall, and she's basically like Sarah, plain and tall. Tall and plain. Sarah Joe. I don't remember. Anyway, it's an old song. Anyway, so she's really plain and like she doesn't consider herself to be beautiful or anything. So it's interesting to think about them saying to make her look good and stuff when she, to begin with, didn't feel great about herself. Can you imagine after all of that? Trying to make yourself look presentable for some random dude.
But this is also a YA novel, so of course she doesn't think she's pretty, but she's really gorgeous.
Right. That's fair. She's going to take off her glasses and she'll be beautiful. Don't worry.
But also like, oh boy, she is so just like naive. Mm-hmm. My mind would be going to one place and one place only immediately. The first time I'd be like, oh God. Like she's just not, it's taken her a while to get up on the uptake.
She's clicking the.
She doesn't have them street smarts.
Well, I think things have gone bad in our society so often nowadays, or maybe we just have more access to bad information with the internet that we're more suspicious.
This is all those crime podcasts.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So, on her way out the room, the sisters are like, look, this is basically the culmination of all of your training. So, like, don't fuck it up. It's like their pearl of wisdom, and then they're gone. So, Miranda, like, goes to take Tessa upstairs. Like, she's getting ready or whatever. And she's, of course, Tessa's, like, wondering, like, who this dude is and what's going to happen to her. So she decided that she's going to ask Miranda, even though she's never really answered any of her questions before. She's like, I'm just going to take a stab in the dark and ask Miranda who this guy is, roll the dice. And to her surprise, she does answer her. And you guys, apparently the Magister's like totally wicked cool. Like the best. And Tessa's just so lucky that she gets to be the one that marries him. Yep.
Marries. That's where we were going.
Oh,
you're finally with us now,
boy.
Tessa.
And Tessa is shooketh. And she's like, no. Elsa told me that you can't marry a man you just met.
I was just going to say, what are you, Elsa?
But Miranda's convinced. She's like, it's a great honor. I don't really care what you have to say. Like, come on, I got a job to do here. Like, time is ticking. So Tessa starts scanning the room, and she's like going into panic mode, realizing like she's blocked in. There's no doors, no way. Like, she has no way out except past Miranda up the stairs. So she backs away, pleading with Miranda, like, please, please, please. But again, this woman is the top half of a Mullet business.
Oh my God.
Jesus. That's our title, by the way.
Top half of a mullet.
The top half of a mullet.
Yep. As Miranda approaches closer, Tessa reaches down and grabs like a brass globe and smacks this bitch. She clockworks Miranda upside the head. And to her surprise,
it's probably the finial from her bed. That's why we talked about a brass bed. Got it.
So,
sorry.
To her surprise, her entire face caves in like a paper mask, but there's no blood.
Nope.
And Miranda like repeats herself.
Nope.
You must come with me now.
No.
Until her voice
I don't like it.
2 weeks.
In gibberish, like when the toy you bought for your kid starts running out of batteries and sounds possessed.
And
you
you're
know
like,
what I'm talking about,
broken.
where it's like,
No.
Put
the Lego in the basket.
No. Like the Furbies? No. No, I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
My kid was afraid of her Furby. She put it in the garage. Yeah.
So Miranda starts going haywire, running or like flailing around until she finally smacks into a wall and goes prone. Crazy. Tessa?
I mean, let's be honest here. This feels like the best case scenario for someone like Tessa because she seems so meek and like she listens to everyone. Like, you didn't just murder a real person, obviously, because her head just caved in and she's, it's okay. You didn't murder anybody. You're good, girl.
Lawful good.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
It's self-defense.
Yeah, it's fine. Tessa books it. Okay? Like, she's got her head on her shoulders. She's out the door, swearing that she sees smoke rising from Miranda's body, but not really being able to, like, look back to know for certain. So she's coming up the stairs, reaches a long hallway, and it's lined with doors, and she frantically, like, tries to open some of them, but they're locked. So she keeps going. She reaches another set of stairs, goes up it, and finds an entryway. And her heart's, like, racing and pounding, and she pulls the door open. And the smell of the city hits her because she hasn't been outside, like, smelled outside air since she was captured. And it's twilight outside and foggy. And she could, like, hear voices in the distance, like kids and children and stuff. But the street she's on is deserted, except for one man. And Tessa, like, tries to go up and ask for help, but realizes, dun, dun, dun. It's a sister's coachman.
Dun.
No. She tries to run, but it's too late, baby. Yeah, it's too late.
Dude, she got so far.
She tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter.
Oh, this is disturbing, and it's a lot.
I love the mystery.
Yep. Yes.
It's going to be amazing. And you know what?
It is.
I just love it.
Because you know what next week is?
Tell us.
It's chapter 2. Hell is cold.
I feel like hell probably wouldn't be cold.
I feel like
but okay, I'll
cold,
take it.
Like, emotionally, you know?
Okay. I gotcha. Look at you, like, writing poetry over there, girl. Smoking a doobie.
Hey, that's my job.
It's all good. Okay, guys. Well, for behind the scenes content and the latest updates, check us out on Instagram at Downworlder Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.